Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, we're going to be continuing our AFL 2023 3-game match reviews for round 7 of the 2023 AFL season. And in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the last 3 games from round 7, Essendon vs Geelong, Richmond vs Gold Coast, the game which I just came off the stream for, Adelaide vs Collingwood. Alright, so the first game of this 3-game match reviews Essendon vs Geelong, and it was the annual country game, the MCG. Looked to be quite an interesting contest, and, well, we saw exactly that, a high-scoring shootout in the end. Essendon, 16-8-104, got defeated by Geelong, 20-12-132. The Cats won by 28 in the end. Great performance there from Geelong. They're showing that they are really back and running for this year's flag. I felt like this was a very good performance by them. They had 88 by half-time, and they had the Bombers under the pump for most of this contest, and the Bombers hung around and didn't get smashed too much. They could have easily lost this game by 50 points because we know the Cats are just so strong, but I still thought, though, the Bombers, they're going to be a good side this year. Yes, they might not make top 8, they might not do all that, but they're not going to finish bottom 4, we know that, from their start to the year anyway. They've looked really good to start the year, and they could definitely be in finals contention this year. We've seen some good stuff from them so far, but anyway, though, we were tracking back to this game, however. The Cats, very good overall, 4 quarters. They had 6 goals to quarter time, 14 goals to half time. Only added on 6 goals compared to the Bombers' 9 in the second half, but it was still good enough to run away with a 28-point victory. Player stats now: 137 fantasy for Hawkins, 121 for Parrish, 115 for Stringer, 113 for Stewart, 93 for Dangerfield, 8 goals, 1 for Tom Hawkins. He's put his name back in the frame in the Coleman medal race, which that is actually starting to heat up now. His teammate Jeremy Cameron kicked 3 goals, 1 as well. Sam Wiedemann, big day out for him with 5 goals, and Jake Stringer still does the important bits with 4 goals. 2 goals for Simpson, Hill, Bruin, and Henry as well. And then McDonald and Woody, something which we don't hear a lot of, the live wire Bombers player, kicks a goal as well. 38 disposals for Parrish. We know that he loves to get the footy. 28 disposals for Dangerfield, 26 for Stewart and Stringer. We'll go to marks now, 12 for Hawkins and Stewart. Tackles, 7 for Merritt and Blitzarves. Hit outs, 25 for Draper, 22 for Phillips, 19 for Blitzarves, 13 for DeConing, 3 for Hawkins, 1 for Wiedemann, 1 for Rowan. Team stats now. And the Cats, 47-64 inside 50s. They did win that area of the game, and we know they're a side which goes inside 50 a lot. And both sides went inside, especially Essendon for their high score of 104, which you don't see a lot of sides lose with that score. Went inside 50, surprisingly small amount of times for their score. But they were more on the accurate side, though, again. Clearances, Geelong were better out of the stoppage. Essendon won the centre clearances. Not too much more is looking interesting at the moment. The Cats won marks, 73-99, 12-19 marks inside 53-12 contested marks. They led for the whole game. Did Geelong, despite Essendon laying more tackles. But this is a great performance from Geelong. 28-point win, and it's a good one. So after a very high-scoring contest, the MCG between the Bombers and the Cats, the Sunday Channel 7 game at Marvel Stadium between Richmond and Gold Coast was the opposite of that. Richmond, their Marvel Stadium hoodoo is just getting worse and worse and worse by the moment. They lose to Gold Coast there again. Richmond 6-12-48, defeated by Gold Coast 11-6-72. Great performance here from Gold Coast. I felt like they needed this win to get up and about this year. We've been yet to see. They've showed up in a couple of games. They've disappeared in others. Melbourne next week awaits them, which will be a tough clash. We do know that. But they're going to at least have a bit of confidence going into it. Richmond's form at Marvel is horrible. And, Gold Coast on top for most of this game. And yes, Richmond kicked 6 goals, 12, and they missed most of their opportunities to try and win the game. 2 goals, 9 by half-time, which for a side like Richmond, they're still inside the bottom 4 at the moment. It would be very disappointed with that. They've got West Coast next week, so they should be able to win, but yeah, this was not a great performance. This was definitely one of their worst performances of the year for the Tigers. Gold Coast, good win though. They had 10 goals, 3 to three-quarter time, so they were extremely accurate. And then 6 goals, 12 to 11 goals, 6 in the end. So Gold Coast, very good there. Noel Anderson, 134 fantasy, 127 for Power, 126 for Taranto, 123 for Short. Goals behind, 4 goals for King, who, again, took the game by his glove and just took the game on. And he was the one that helped to get the Suns over the line. 2 goals for Holman and Ryan as well. disposals, 32 for Taranto and Short, as well as Anderson, 31 for McPherson, marks, 13 for Power, 12 for Ballard, 11 for Shorts and for Ballard, 11 for Short and Atkins, 10 for Collins, 9 for Taranto, Anderson, Fiorini, and McPherson. Tackles, 9 for Rouse, 7 for Swallow, hitouts, 35 for Witts, 14 for Soldo, 12 for Ryan, 7 for Troll, 3 for Miller. Team stats now where inside 50s were locked at 53 all. Gold Coast had more of the footy, and both sides' efficiency inside 50 was 34% Tigers, 40% Gold Coast. Clearances, Gold Coast won. Standard clearances, Richmond won stoppage clearances. Gold Coast had more uncontested footy than the Tigers. They took way more marks, but Richmond took more marks inside 50 and more contested marks. Gold Coast led for pretty much most of the game, and after the Tigers had a good battle with them early, inaccuracy again really did cost them in this one, and 6 goals 12 is not going to do well enough, and that Marvel Stadium hoodoo does seem to linger on over their heads. And the game, which I just finished off streaming not too long ago, just came off the stream for Crows v Pies. Great game, great stream as well. But yes, Collingwood won by a point in the end. Adelaide 7-16-58, defeated by Collingwood 8-11-59. Both sides inaccurate, but Adelaide felt the pain more. And look, some really easy chances missed by the likes of Rochelle and Jones. Really should have, and even Pedler, who missed some really easy chances, should have helped them win the game. Just one more shot that they kicked a goal for, and they would have won the game. And when you think about it in that aspect, they missed so many easier chances, including Rankin, who missed a walk-in goal. And they should have had Collingwood under the pump by half-time. They should have been up by 30, 40 points at half-time, but were not. And in the end, Collingwood, the Crows have done this multiple times where they've left teams guessing, and they're like, here, we'll leave the door open for you. Come in and walk through it if you want and steal the game. And Collingwood, the Giants, and Richmond have done that. And they could have been top of the ladder if they had have actually kicked a little bit straight at the start of the year. But yes, inaccuracy comes back to haunt them again. And it was a great game from Adelaide. They owned the first quarter and a half before then Collingwood came back after a goalless second term for the Crows. In the third quarter, that's where the Crows got a bit of momentum after Collingwood started well, but that last quarter was all Collingwood. They forced the Crows to defend for very long periods of time, with the Crows rarely getting an outside their defensive 50, and that's what got Collingwood over the line. 104 fantasy for Rory Laird. Now, I don't know if this stuff is updated because it doesn't look like it has, but we'll run with what we've got. 104 fantasy for Laird, 91 for Dacos, Nick Dacos, 87 for Saligo, 84 for Dawson and O'Brien. Now, I don't know if this is updated, so I'm sorry, apologies if this is not updated. But if this is not updated, you can go and check out the stats for yourself if you want to. But this is the stats which we've got so far a little while after the game. 3 goals for Mytek, 2 for Jones, 2 for Pedler, Rankin 1 goal, 2 Josh Dacos 1 goal, 1. 1 goals for Walker, 1 goal for Walker, Sloan, Johnson, Frampton, and then 4 behinds for Rochelle, and 2 behinds for Hill. So both sides did kick more behinds than goals. 28 disposals for Laird, 25 for Josh Dacos, 25 for Tom Mitchell, 24 for Saligo, 23 for Nick Dacos. Marks, 7 for Scholl and Laird. Tackles, 8 for McCreary, 7 for Adams. Hitouts, 38 for O'Brien, 21 for Frampton, 3 for Thilthorpe, 2 for Walker, 1 for Johnson. Team stats, where it was very even, but after the Crows won the inside 50 count for the whole game by a decent number, in that last quarter, Collingwood just got so many repeat inside 50s, and as I said earlier, forced the Crows to defend, which can really put you in not a great state of mind. Now, one place which the Crows did lack out of was clearance. Collingwood, 21 more clearances than them. They won out of the centre by 5, which means they won out of the stoppage by 16. The Crows had more uncontested footy and contested footy, but not by a big number. They took way more marks, 105 to 72 more marks inside 50 and way more contested marks. The Crows led for nearly the whole thing. The Pies led for the last 30 seconds. But as the game does go, you only need a lead just before, or if you haven't kicked off the siren, after that final siren. But you need a lead on that final siren or just before to get the win, and it doesn't really matter how long you lead for before then, because once the siren goes, whoever's in front, unless it's kick off the siren, obviously wins the game. Doesn't matter how long you led for before. So yes, the Pies by a point ends off a cracking round of footy. We'll go back, have a little look. Port beat the Saints by 7. Brisbane smashed the Dockers by 48. GWS beat the Swans by 1. So 2 1-point games in this round. The Dogs beat the Hawks by 29. The D's smashed North Melbourne by 90. Carlton smashed West Coast by 108. Geelong beat the Bombers by 28. Gold Coast beat Richmond by 24. And Collingwood beat the Crows by 1. Now the ladder. Let's have a little look. Collingwood clear top 24 points after that win over Adelaide. Melbourne, St Kilda, Brisbane and Port Adelaide are on 20. Carlton are on 18 with that draw, which puts them a little bit behind the 20, but a little bit ahead of the 16, which has a fair few 16s. I mean, there's 4 of them. The Cats, the Crows, the Bombers, and the Dogs. The Swans and the Giants and the Suns are all on 12. Fremantle North are on 8. Richmond are on 6. Then Hawthorn West Coast are on 4. So that is how the ladder is shaping up after round 7. And now to the round 8 matchups, which make sure to go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on my tipping video to find out who I think will win and margins, and then my round preview to take a little bit of a deeper look into this round, into round 8 of footy. So make sure to subscribe so you do not miss any of that. But Carlton and Brisbane on the Friday night is a big crunch time clash. This looks to be an exciting one. Richmond versus West Coast and Geelong versus Adelaide are the first 2 Saturday games. Not as appetising as some of the other games in this round. Gold Coast versus Melbourne. Could be a secret thriller, but I think Melbourne probably should be able to get the job done there. GWS versus Western Bulldogs. The Dogs only just got over the Hawks. Does loom to be a bit of a danger game for them. So we'll just have to wait and see with this one. But yeah, this is looking to be quite an interesting game at Manuka Oval. So the Giants hosting 2 home games in a row. They're hosting one in round 6. Now they're hosting one in round 8. Fremantle versus Hawthorn is also the second Saturday night game, and that's a big one after Hawks showed some definitely valid signs of improvement over the Dogs. Port Adelaide versus Essendon, Collingwood versus Sydney, and North Melbourne versus St Kilda. Some interesting games there on the Sunday as well. Some big games coming up in round 8. But round 7, that is it for what a great round of footy it was. Very interesting. Definitely finished off more interesting than what some of us may have thought at the start of the round. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So then you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much. Bye everyone. Flame Footy out.